So we'll pick up from where we left off with this part two. Probably could have done it, jammed it all together, but it's a little bit too much. Uh, but there's two parts to our app, the Flutter front end and the API in the back end. And gonna go ahead and do the first of the steps. Let's see, for AWS deployment. We'll give this a shot. Haven't seen it work. This is touching code that we never touched. It wrote for us. Really went too far. Didn't even want to get that far in the first part, but it did. I haven't even initted the project to get a Claude MD, but that's fine. We're just going to press forward and see where we can get here before we have to get into anything muddy. So, and maybe we'll get all the way through. So, all right, I'm going to navigate to AWS directory, run this deploy shell. It'll then be the SAM script, and then we'll see at the end if it works out. We'll have an API endpoint. So a couple of things just to look at ahead of time. We don't have to do this first, but if we look at the deploy script, it's pretty straightforward, right? Again, we're running that from the AWS folder, not the root folder. And so it does the SAM build, deploy. When it's all done, we're all there. Hopefully, we're going to see some resulting API key or an API there, URL. If I go down to here, it should reference this template YAML, right? Which I think CloudFormation did when I look at it, but it seems to be a SAM YAML. But along the way here, we see for the API itself, it should create an API called the DCC underscore API, which was a request, I think, back in the prompt. If we come over to AWS, I've already logged in here, and we go to API Gateway in this project, we should see no DCC API, right? We just see these guys, so that's a good sign. So if it looks alphabetical, so I'll assume it's going to come in somewhere around here after we run it, if we're successful. All right, so we can run bash commands through the actual Claude prompt, which allows Claude to pay attention to what we're doing. But often, just to save tokens, I would suggest, probably better to just create your own extra terminal for things that you know you're going to do. And if it ever fails, you can always pop back over and run it again to fail. So I prefer to do that. So I end up with two terminal windows typically. Okay, so here's where we are, DCC, WD, right? Do an ls, and we'll go into the AWS. And if I remember correctly, the shell was already made executable by Claude. So we should just be able to do gotcha, and see what happens. Stack name, SAM app. That sounds good. That way we can destroy the whole stack if we want later if it fails. The region, typical east one. And then show you resources, change resource changes. Sure. Yep. I'll leave that as their defaulted no. Group function has no authentication. Oh, that's fine. Well, by the way, we're not doing anything up front for this. We could probably add that in afterwards. So yes to this. Sure. So far, so good. Defaults? No, isn't that interesting? So yes. This looks a lot like CDK, where it's doing CloudFormation work in the background. it's good. We see that prompt that it wanted us to remind us about prompting us with that URL. So let's see if we've got it here. I think that's it right there. That's the full quote endpoint. This is the front end of it. I'm just going to go ahead and grab that. Right to production. Okay, so maybe there's a little bit to think about the discipline of tests and so on. Maybe we want some pre-stages before prod, going right from here to prod, never having seen it. And going back to that thing about authentication, those both be suitable things to put into our guidance to clean this up, or to further it along beyond this basics. All right, let's see. So we've got that copied, we're all set there. Now, in theory, all we have to do is pop over to our main.dart, which is in Bear. Kind of, you have to know the Flutter structure, but DCC mobile is the root of a Flutter project. And you might recall all those folders. There is one where all the source code goes, all the Flutter code, and that starts typically in lib, and then it's just from there you go down. But in here, I think we had a hard-coded value. There we go. So what I'm going to do, let's just see if we can have it change it for us just for the heck of it. Just scroll down here. So in case you didn't know where that entry is, for instance, it looks like, just leave it that was a lot of typing. Hopefully I cut it so you don't have to look at all the typing. But let's try, see what happens here. Okay, so it's wants to make a folder called tests and make sure that sounds good. So all that just get created here at the bottom of the folder. Let's go ahead and expand that so if anything appears, we'll see it. Okay, this is the script for testing, I think. Test API, sounds good. Let's give it a shot. Right, just make it executable. So there's our edit that it wants to make, putting the URL in directly instead of the placeholder. Once again, sure. Okay, looks good. So we're all set there. We're back. Remember, we're doing this through Claude there. If I wanted to actually test the API from where we are, let's see. I don't know if I have to do the bash the way I do it there. I'm just doing the expensive way now where I'm using tokens just to do basic commands. So I'm in DCC. If I wanted to run that test, I could do a, let's see, slash tests, test API. Oh, actually, I was running it without doing the bash up front. That's interesting. So, yes, that's exactly what I want to do. It's funny, I've always consistently put that capital bash in front, and it seems to be very smart there. Let's see. So got to the endpoint. Codes are being returned correctly. There's good variety. Here's the test scripts. To be status parsing. Testing and testing passed. See, I hadn't even looked in the test file to see just how many tests there were. So different quotes going to say for random testing, response structure, properties and response. Good. All right, very good. So we're all set with that. I'm not going to bother building the Flutter from here. We're going to move to like a separate view again, terminal. Just come here. And we should be able to, let's see. We're down at AWS. I'm going to come back up. And we'll go into DCC mobile. try the Flutter run. By the way, I don't have a simulator running, I don't have anything. I do have my phone. I don't want it to come up on my phone. So before I do that, let me get the simulator going first. I always forget the command. So, you know what? This is good. What is the command? Probably a little expensive to ask us stupid questions like that, but this is how lazy you get. That's it. Open-A simulator. Might as well take that. Oh, it's going to do it for me. Never mind. I was going to put it in my other one. But it's going to start a different process elsewhere. There we are. So we just let this kind of come to life. Great. Now coming back over here, I'll bring them both up at the same time so we actually see it. There we go. So pop over here again, and this time we'll do a Flutter run. And that will be one of our options. If not directly, it just goes right to that. Usually if I wait long enough, it gets my phone or an iPad and so on, actual devices. Okay, so there's my phone is number one. I could go live, but you're not going to see it unless I put its screen back into ScreenFlow here, and rather just see it in the simulator here if that's okay. But here we could run it as a Mac OS app. We could run it as a web app. All of those would work right now because they're just so simple, and we have that CORS consideration as well. So that would be a good test. We'll do 2 to see it run on the iPhone here. This is the first time it's building the Flutter app, so you're getting a whole bunch of stuff there. That's the pub ad stuff. There we go. All right, there's our app. So press the button below to get a quote. There it is. There's our quote. The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. This is great. We didn't touch any code. We didn't do anything here so far. And it came up with both parts. All right, so we'll stop that. Come back here. Do a quit. Might as well give you a quick Flutter demo and how exciting it can be. I'll do a Flutter run again, and this time I'll bring it up in the browser, or try to. So this time I'll choose Chrome as my destination for this run. So we'll get it. I think it opens its own Chrome window from scratch for us. So we'll wait for that to happen. There it is. I have a, what is that thing called that moves things around. So here's the app again running, this time in Chrome. Press the button below to get a quote. There we go. Looking good. All right, so let's go back here, and now we'll do one last step. Actually, I'll stop here for part 2, and then we'll just goof around in part 3.